Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. Today, of course, we're going to start out with some videos, but beforehand, I want to get with you all and tell me all that you want to talk about. Tell me all that you have on your mind right now. Deb Denny, welcome aboard. Eric Hayes, welcome aboard. Nanette Bird Smith, welcome aboard. Bridge MCP, welcome aboard. Nanette Bird Smith, got you already. AVQ, welcome aboard. My one and only Michael Rudnin. All right, Rudnin has his regular research for the beginning of our show. Hey, he does it, we do it. Andrew Brown Jr., that's a guy who was shot in North Carolina, shot 5 times, included in the back of the head. Autopsy reveals. He gave the link as well. So, folks, take a look at the link. Body cam footage shows execution of Andrew Brown Jr. I hadn't seen the body cam yet. Thank you for pointing that out and bringing that up. Body cam video showed Andrew Jr. with hands on car wheel before North Carolina shot him as well. Thank you for researching and putting all that stuff out for us. Incidents like these are going to keep happening until major police reform is passed. Meantime, all we can do is push social media pressure, as that's the only thing keeping dirty, violent cops in check. I should be clear, most good cops know at least some of the bad cops who have infiltrated their ranks, yet they don't turn them in. As part of that major police reform, the blue wall of silence must fall. I don't know if those are your words or linked there from the PNG, but it is absolutely true. That is absolutely the true case. I like the little image that El Señor Rudnin has brought forth. So I tell you what I'll do. He has this little image that he put on the screen. Let's just go ahead and show that. Again, if he's going to find these little memes, why not show them, right? There is the meme. Let me blow it up a little bit so the audience can see it. Let's see if we can do that. Whoops, not there. Let's get it right here to the blow up. There is a blow up of the meme, folks. Bad cop, good cops. I don't know if that proportion is right given what we've seen lately, but let's go ahead and leave it there, because for every incident that you see right now on TV or on social media, every single day, if you go into the barrios, the ghettos, and even Appalachia, you will find these kinds of behaviors, because a lot of these guys actually just believe in their power methodology, their power, their hunger for doing these kinds of things. So, folks, we really have to make a change. Let's see. Eric seems that CNN article is 2020, which makes sense. Michael Rudnin, Egberto, yes, those are my words after posting 3 articles on the topics. Those words were prescient, senor. Those words were prescient that you spoke up there. Anyhow, folks, let's go ahead and get busy with el programa que vamos a hablar hoy. Why is this stuff not in the right? There we go. That's the right size you're supposed to be. All right, what is the program going to be? Go. Title today is Zachariah ponders U.S. genocide. Nicole Wallace slams GOP, and I love what she had to say. Matthew Dowd, census good for Dems, while everybody else complaining about Texas gaining 2 and New York and California each losing 1. The Democratic states are losing and the red states are bringing people on. But what you don't get is that as you bring those votes into those red states, they become less red. Georgia rings a bell. Gerrymandering only works up until a point. Gerrymandering only works up and until a point. Eventually, the population overrides gerrymandering, and that which was done by gerrymandering will actually lose out in the long run. But anyway, we look at, yesterday you saw the video with Angela Rai. And what Angela Rai was trying to do is she was trying to point out that a lot of our policing problems begin with the genesis of police, right? How was the police formed? The police was actually formed as a slave recapture agent, if you will. And their behavior is not all that different than what it has been from its inception, right? But there was a program that I was watching on Farid Zakaria. I love his program, GPS. I think it's GPS is what it's called. And the reason I love him is he doesn't go into a whole lot of the histrionics or welcome aboard Deborah John or any of that. What he does is Farid Zakaria just sticks to the point, makes his point, and he goes ahead and tells the story. As you guys know, recently, the United States has officially come out and said that what Turkey effected on the Armenians was called genocide. They've been trying, Armenians and all these people have been trying to get that codified, that what the Turkish people did against the Armenia was really genocide, and we resisted doing that for a very, very long time. I'm going to tell you why I'm bringing this story up, because it has connectivity to our situation today. And we refused to do it. So Biden finally did it. And a lot of people, oh, Biden has courage. Biden went ahead and he goes ahead and he says that genocide was committed by Turkey. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead and really take a look, however, at this interview with this panelist on Armenian genocide, because it takes a turn. And this is the kind of hypocrisy that the rest of the world looks at when we come unapologetically and accuse them of what they're doing. And then we'll take it into a different direction thereafter. But check out Zakaria.
Let me ask you very quickly in the end, since we're talking about history, in your professional opinion, would the United States government's treatment of Native Americans historically qualify as genocide?
Well, one of the things you might ask me is what would really have surprised me or excited me, and that would be for President Biden to have characterized the killing of American Indians as a genocide, or the lynching of blacks in the southern states as a crime against humanity. That would be a big thing. You may recall 2 or 3 years ago, President Macron of France characterized colonialism. He was thinking of Algeria as a crime against humanity, and he got himself into very deep water. So words really do matter, and history matters on these issues.
And how do I tie that into today? My brother Lee Grant, my conservative brother Lee Grant, I knew he would respond to this. He says, the modern police bears no resemblance to slave patrols. This is just overused, divisive propaganda. Okay. I take you, brother Grant. If you were, what's the name of the young man that was shot in the head? If you were Andrew Brown, if you were George Floyd, if you were Dante Wright, and you're dead today, and you feel that police officers indiscriminately look at you as less than human, and because they look at you as less than human, as maybe, and what they do to you are things that they wouldn't do to other people. What the hell is the difference? That it's a bit more antiseptic today, that they don't do it badly as they did back in the slave days, but still, when Bakari Sellers went and spoke to the sheriff, not the sheriff, but the attorney general, the county attorney says, you are not gonna effing bully me for something that this attorney had a right to. Do you think that would have been addressed that way if the killing were otherwise? Oh, I forgot. The killing would not have been otherwise unless it was a POC. You see, we don't worry about those kinds of killings unless they're POCs. I mean, the only time that kind of killing occur, hey, Jessica Taylor, welcome aboard. The only way that kind of killing occurs is not with you know what. So when you talk about, that is divisive, killing these people indiscriminately, being quiet is what you want? Being quiet and not saying we are being aggrieved more so than anybody else? Is that what you want? And then we won't be divisive because there are certain, I'm in a few organizations, right? One of the reasons they don't like me to speak up on certain occasions is because I don't care what the room is filled with. I don't care what ethnicity or whatever. I will say the truth. I will speak badly of whomever needs to be spoken badly, whether it is white, Caribbean, black, Latino, everything. One way we speak, and that is the way that you get things done, right? If you're honest. Bringing back what happened with Farid Zakaria, not calling what we did to the Indians genocide on ourselves and on us as Americans, not calling the lynching of black people in America as a crime against humanity, not calling what police officers are doing to people of color a crime against humanity. We need somebody to go to the world's court right now and say, we have an institution in the United States of America where people of color are hunted, where people of color are treated like animals by the police part of the state. That's crime against humanity. But you see, nobody wants to buck the big dog, the United States. The United States can go and police everybody. When they threw Navalny in Russia in jail and poisoned him and did all these, oh, it's so bad that they're doing that to that one guy. But when we have people writing laws, as DeSantis did in Florida, to say, if you are watching a protest and that protest is in your way, right, and you accidentally knock somebody out with your car in that protest and kill them, they can't sue you because they were breaking the law by protesting, so you are protected. That's a crime against humanity, a crime against democracy. You think we're going to do that? I don't think so. So we should be very, very careful when we are attacking other countries about genocide. So I thought that brother Biden, President Biden, should not have touched calling what Turkey did genocide unless he was willing to say in the same sentence, just like I will cop to America having committed genocide against the Native Americans, just like I am copping that slavery was a national crime, a crime against humanity, I will cop and say that what Turkey did to the Armenians was also genocide. If you're not using it in that sentence, then Biden had no right to categorize what they're doing in Somalia, to categorize what they're doing in Sudan, categorizing what they're doing, what they did in Turkey or Armenia against the Armenians as genocide unless you're willing to be introspective. I'm not trying to be goody two-shoe about any particular country or whatever. What I'm trying to say is, if you really want to be respected, you've got to be honest. We had a very, very violent beginning. We continue to be not a real democracy. And until we start being honest with ourselves, the cop killings will continue because we have not been honest with the genesis of that cop killing. And the genesis of that cop killing has as accomplice many Americans themselves, right? Because when these cops kill, they know that most Americans are willing to let them off. Let's look in the mirror, people. Let's look in the mirror. Okay, let's see. Dev Denny, Kevin McCarthy left another congressman in his office to fend off himself on one. Imagine that. I don't think a lot of people know that story. You know, the insurrectionists, the terrorists that came into the Capitol. When they started to attack Kevin brought another congressman into his office for refuge. Well, when they broke near to his office and he knew they were going to break into his office, his security detail grabbed him. We got to get out of here. You think Kevin says, hey, come on, I have another congressman here with me? He said, brother, you're on your own. Bye. And he took off with the security detail. Talking about caring about your leaders, right? I thought that was so, so sad. Eric Hayes says, hi all, thought would post some info on crime rising, which murder rate states to be local overall issue, but collectively have gone up. Yeah, it's all gone up, but there are several other reasons, okay? All right, let's see. Deb Denny, I'm going to share that story in about an hour and a half. Thanks for heads up. No problem. Thank you. Egberto, yes, those were your words. I know it was were your words. Eric Seems, the CNN article is 2020. Let's see. Deb Denny, the cops being trained by David Grossman, Killology. I like that, Killology. Eric, let's see what else. Michael Rennie says, New York to lose House seat and an electoral college vote after failing 89 for fallen 89 for residents short on census 2020 count. We're soon going to see just how badly the gerrymandering redistricting in those affected states. Here's what I have a piece to play, and let's go ahead and play it now since you brought up. And let me go ahead and continue reading what you guys are writing. Then I'm going to play that video on the census. But I want you all to keep in the back of your head census data. The idea, because California and New York lost a seat, and I think Illinois as well, a lot of people are putting up some fear about that. I want to talk to you about that in a minute, but let's go ahead and do this in a little bit. All right. Let's see. Deborah John, welcome aboard from LA. Gerrymandering, that point at which there's no way to manipulate a minority to become a majority, is about 2/3 voting against you. Exactly. But in some areas, it's actually worse. You know, when you have that sparse stuff, because you run up against the way they draw the districts, and actually districts can be drawn so badly that a court just has to find that it was simply done to exclude people from voting. And once you do that, it's a federal offense, and the courts can step in there. I know that the courts, we have a conservative court, but that can be, you know. Lee Grant says the modern police bears no resemblance to slave patrols. This is just overused divisive propaganda. I think I handled that already. Bridge MCP says, this pissed me off regarding Turkey. The EU's female leader said she was left standing at a meeting while her male counterpart sat because I'm a woman. I saw that. Let's see. Michael Running, in the case, it was clear, yes, 50 to 100 million dead indigenous people in America was a genocide. But how often would any of our leaders discuss this? Never. They don't. They just want to sing glory, glory, hallelujah. We're the best and we are exceptional. Yeah, we're exceptionally good at killing. We are exceptionally good at killing. We are effective at killing. And I'm not only talking about the Indians. I'm not talking about the execution or the lynchings. I'm not only talking about what we did to the Chinese. I'm not only talking about that. I'm talking about using, you know, the only people we use. Look, we always ask, we wonder, we worry about Iran. Oh my God, Iran is building a bomb. Are they going to use that bomb? Oh my God. Saudi Arabia may go ahead and get a bomb, or all these countries that want bombs, right? We know that Israel has a bomb. We know that Brazil has a bomb. Not declared, but they do have bombs. And we wonder, we don't want these people to have bombs because it'll make the world unstable. Again, which was the only country on this planet that has proven it has the will to use an atomic bomb to kill hundreds of thousands of people at once and to kill human beings? Which is the only country that we know that has within their character set the wherewithal, the will to do it? The United States of America. How do we know that? We are the only country that has done it. Yet we are worried about everybody else, right? We don't want anybody else to get it. We've done used it, but we don't want anybody else to get it. Look, I'm an American. I'm a proud American. I believe in building this country up. But sometimes to build something up, you have to first look in the mirror, tell the truth, and then we can move on. We have all the, you know what's special about America? The only thing to save America is that America is a country of immigrants. In other words, from Poland, from Africa, from South America. And that a lot of the original killers that came to the country have been, what should I say, tamed? Maybe? domesticated, maybe, or learn how to do things a bit more antiseptic, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. But we have to be honest. If we want to be taken seriously, we have to be honest. Okay? Rudnin says that Florida will protect people who drive through protesters is an insanity, but it is a reality. And they had the sheriff on TV talking about it as well. And he was talking like he was bull run out of Mississippi or Alabama. I don't remember where he was. Anyhow, let's see. The Michael Rudnin protect people who drive is insanity. Yes, it is. E2247, genocide and ecocide continues in Mossville, Louisiana. Today, U.S. favors Sassoid North American operations. Lee Grant, blocking an ambulance with your protest is also a crime against humanity. Don't protest in the road. Don't get run over. Okay, let's hold that to absolutely everybody. Let's see what happens when when the Tea Party starts protesting and some progressive dude runs over folk. They'll sing a different tune then. In fact, they'll sing a completely different tune then. Michael, they did our East with MAGA truck rally. The MAGA. In fact, here in Texas, what happened, Bridge? In Texas, while the vice president was in her bus, driving on Interstate 35, going up to my university, a whole train of MAGA trucks came and they blocked that bus and they tried to run the bus off the road. And we have it all on video. That's the kind of people we're talking about here. All right. Let's see what else is here before I move on to the other video. World military spending rose to nearly $2 trillion in 2020. U.S. expenditures add up to $778 billion, accounting for 39% of the world's military spending. So we have 3% of the world's population, and we spend 39%, almost 40% of the world's budget in killing instruments. Think about that. Why are people moving from New York and North Carolina and others to southern states? There's a good reason for that. Several reasons, in fact. If you go to California and you build your wealth, because you're building your wealth with a whole bunch of people that are intelligent, people that were educated by the state. In other words, Eric Hayes, I want to handle that question that you have there perfectly, because you are going to see how Texans are being used. Here's the thing. Eric Hayes asked a very important question, and I want you guys to listen to this well. Why are people moving from New York and California and others southern states? All right? New York gives its people great health care and education if they want it, and quite a few other amenities. So does California. So therefore, you have a base that you can build your wealth. And after you build it, you are able, I have friends who bought homes earlier on for $200,000 that's worth $1 million. You know what they do? They sell their homes in California and move to Texas. Why? Because Texas has cheap everything, right? So we used California to build wealth, and then they moved to Texas or to Alabama so that they don't have to share that wealth that was allowed them by the taxes of others. It's just a normal selfish human nature. I can live a lot cheaper in Texas. That does very well for the person who started in New York. It does very well for the person who started in California. We built them in California and New York. And then we come to Texas so that we can keep it most. And you know what Texans get out of it? Nada. Niet. Because when they come with their wealth to Texas, we don't say, oh, since you're coming to Texas, we need to continue to build up on Texas. So what do? I got a message from my friend today. My friend John he's in the legislature. I called him and said, I needed you on the show today. He said, Egbert, I'm on the floor. We're fighting on the floor in Texas right now, in the Texas legislature. And he says, we have 20% of Texans without health insurance. You know why? Because we decided that we don't want to accept the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. So we throw all that money that Texans have paid away. And also, all the business that we could have generated from that 90% coverage of the Medicaid expansion to the affordable. We said, no, we don't want it. And we don't want it because it comes with too many attachments. We are going to have to follow too many rules. And since we're a laissez-faire state, we want to do as we please. Even though it hurts, it means 20% of our population gets no health insurance, and a percentage of those we are going to murder. So we have a Texas Republican legislature that is murdering its citizens, its Texas citizens, and we just take it. We just take it. Because a lot of folks are going to just sit down and say, we don't want the government interference or whatever. So we allow our citizens to die. We allow them to die. And because it's antiseptic, there's one that's dying. There are 10 dying in Brenham. There are 1,000 dying in Houston, another 1,000 in the Dallas metro area, another 500 in San Antonio, another 200 in El Paso. But compared to those populations, nobody's sick. We can hide those deaths. We can hide the suffering of 1/5 of the population. We can hide that suffering. So we don't pass the bills, right? The problem is not that we are in hiding that suffering, we prevent the revolt. We prevent all those people who realize that these guys are cannibals. These guys are animals. These guys are the scourge of the earth, to allow their citizens to die. To allow their citizens to die. That's what we're doing here in Texas. And they do it with a smile. They don't care. We care. We care about our fellow citizens. They don't care. So they die, big deal. It's upsetting, yeah. But why do we have a politics done right? Why do we have a PDR posse? We want to let Texans know that right now you have a month. You have about 2 or 3 weeks right now to get your butt to Austin or call those guys and say, we are going to let everybody know that you're killing Texans, that you're murdering Texans. We only have 2 or 3 weeks because they are going to adjourn after that for 2 years. And if we don't get the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act now, we're not getting it. And more Texans will be without health care unless Biden is able to get rid of the filibuster and we come out with care for all. At that point, it doesn't matter what the hell Texas does. That's where we are today. We have a murdering legislature, a legislature that commits murder every single day. And this is the way we have to talk about this. We have to let Americans know what's going on. Deborah John says, and guess what? The Kardashians, they jump on Biden defense and praise Biden for his good deeds, action against it. Well, they're Armenians, and look, I can't blame them for that. I really can't, because they felt it. I am talking about what Biden did relative to America, not what the evil thing that Turkey did. Okay? Tom C., America was founded on the principle might makes right. Exactly. And the golden rule, those that have the gold rule. Tom C., I love that, brother. I love that. Israel has bombs from us. Yes, they do. But they have also, look, Israel made their own bombs as well. Are you saying U.S. is bad? No, I'm saying U.S. did a lot of bad things. No country is bad. Russia is not bad. The U.S. is not bad. Iran is not bad. People in Iran are bad. People in Russia are bad. People in America are bad. These parts of the America that does those bad things are bad. Okay? Lee Grant, what you may not know is Brazil is the most the third or fourth most advanced economy in this hemisphere, more so than many of the European countries. Brazil is a powerhouse. No, a lot of people only hear about Rio de Janeiro and that sort of stuff. Think about Brasilia and all these other places where we have all these factories that are doing a whole lot of stuff. Okay, Eric Hayes, aren't we a nation of laws? No, we are a nation of laws when we want it to be a nation of laws. And that's the lie that we sell to the average American citizen. Everything that I've said today is absolutely true. It's irrefutable. You can look it up. You call it whatever you want to call it, but that is the reality of how we are. That's the reality of who we are. Period. Punto y final. Bridge MCP, can't build a decent car, can't make a TV and set our VCR where the get get no steel industry left, can't educate our young people, can't get health care for our people, but we can bomb the you know what out of the country, all right? Especially if your country is full of brown people. Oh, we like that. We don't. I mean, look, Breach, if we narrow down into phrases what we do, it matches exactly what you say. If you doubt it, you take a look at the countries we bomb, right? There can be civil war in fact, let's use your country as an example, Bridge MCP, Northern Ireland. When all the Irish commotion was going on, we never went in there and used lethal force and said, you better do this or we'll bomb you, for the correct side or the side that we supported. We didn't support the Sinn Féin side, but we didn't go out there and say we are going to bomb Sinn Féin or anything like that. Now, if you go to one of these brown countries where we don't like what somebody's doing, we drop bombs. We even dropped bombs in Panama, a country without an Air Force, Navy, or Marine. We tested out the stealth fighter in Panama. El Quince Piso in Colón, my town, blew up, sending missiles through it. My father was running under the bed as missiles were flying over Ciudad Arcoiris. Yeah. We've lived this, folks. Lawrence Sims was the biggest rule for nothing to help this president, even if it hurts Americans. Cuomo in New York with the retirement homes. I don't know what you're asking. If you're asking if he did something wrong there, all these guys do things wrong. Bad actors are bad. Exactly, Jessica. Let's continue. Moseville, let's see. Egberto didn't recognize a George Carlin joke quote. I didn't see it. Where did you put it, brother? I love George Carlin, man. My wife used to buy his books for me because she knows I love the guy. George Carlin is one of the most effective comics on talking what American capitalism is all about and a lot more. He's dead now. I remember when he died, it kind of shocked me. You guys need to read some of this guy's jokes because he's very good at what he does. Okay, before I do the other video, let's go ahead and do our PDR posse. If you are on YouTube right now, please support what we do. We only talk the things that a lot of folks are sometimes scared of talking about. We also make sure to keep the progressive message out there. We also make sure that we populate the entire progressive space, the entire space with progressive information that generally a lot of times the mainstream media can't do, not because they're bad, but because they're paid by the corporatocracy. So we are paid through by you. You're the only one who support us. So we can say whatever the hell we want to say, and we listen to you, we read what you have to say, etc., etc., etc. So I ask you so kindly, if you are on YouTube, please support our project. Please click that join button and become a part of the PDR posse. Likewise, you can also go ahead and get our cup designed by one of our leaders in the PDR posse, Bridge MCP. And you see it on the screen there with Roberto showing some of the cups. He bought every cup. There is Bridge MCP with her cup holding at the river. And you can see other people, or Linda E. I haven't seen Linda E. in a while, but she's fine. Spoke to her. And, of course, there's Norman Reynolds, the person who went ahead and discussed our thing. Anyhow, folks, so listen. Please go ahead and click the join button to become a part of our PDR posse. Hey, Lee Grant, you need to become a part of the posse. I don't think you're a part of the posse, even though you're a great supporter, brother. But please join the posse if you can. Lee, just click that join button on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, here is the link. politicsdoneright.com/YouTube. politicsdoneright.com/YouTube is how you become a member of the PDR posse. If you're not currently on YouTube, but you want to become one, just click that link and become a new member of YouTube. And you guys know what I do. If you do it during the show and I see that green slide come up, I cut that green slide out and I put it on the screen so everybody can say, hey, new member during the live show. All right. You can also support us via PayPal. We need a lot more people in PayPal. We don't have a lot. 135, we need at least 1,000. So there is a politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. That is spelled Patreon. P as in person. Atreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Or you can also support us via the standard way. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal is how you support us via PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. PayPal. Now, you see that book on the screen? That book on the screen? It's worth it. How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Friends and Neighbors. You can get that book at Amazon. I'm putting that link, that Amazon link in there right now. It is. The Amazon link is in this feed right now. But if you want to cut out the middleman, you can get the book directly from us. Get it at our store. How do you get it at our store? Just go ahead and go to politicsdoneright.com/store. Politicsdoneright.com/store. And of course, you can get it. You can get the nice t-shirts like the one that I'm wearing right now, the hoodies that you see me wear sometimes, the mask that you've seen Bridge MCP put on, the cups. Everything is at our store, and by getting those things, you're helping to support the project. We need to continue doing it. And please don't do what Abraham Trump is trying to get you to do. Abraham Trump wants you to burn our book. Mary, you can find me anywhere to sign that book, Mary. Anytime you see me, whatever, sign it, or if I'm in your area, I'll just come sign the book. Or, sometime we come to the house and have a little barbecue or something out here and bring the book. I'll definitely sign it. We'll have some fun. Bring the whole families over and we have a good time. I mean, look, guys, we need to get this stuff done. Become a member of the posse. Click that join button and you are there. All right, folks, enough of that asking for that. I got a new video for you. All right, this one is from... we spoke about the census earlier, and I want you to listen to this for this particular reason. People are freaking out. Oh my God, New York lost a House seat, and California lost a House seat. Illinois lost a House seat. 3 Democratic states. What are we going to do? Unlike the Republican states, remember this. We control those states. Them losing a seat is nothing different than saying Republicans have lost a seat in California, Republicans have lost a seat in Illinois, and Republicans have lost a seat in New York. It's that simple. So we haven't lost anything when it comes to the formulation of the state. The same amount of electoral votes now. Now, the reason they talk about a net 3 electoral votes loss is because whenever a state wins, like Texas will now contribute 2 more votes to the Electoral College, and which was another important red state. I think Nebraska or one of them are going to add another state. So the net loss in Electoral College votes is 3, right? That's what the net loss looked like, about 3, because of where, if you add all the gains and all the, I think it was 3 that I saw. That's really nothing, really, right? It wouldn't have changed the outcome of the election any way or fashion. But we all have to realize one thing. The American electoral system is undemocratic. There's nothing democratic about how we elect a president. Remember that. It has to change, but we have to educate enough people, including people in the red state, to let them understand why it needs to change. But we'll do that slowly. We can still win by winning big. We can continue to win by 7% margins. We do that, we continue to win. Like I was explaining to Rudnin, we just have to have these larger majorities. We can do that because the policies we support are the policies most Americans want. Even Eric Hayes, or a resident conservative, he wants the policies that we support. He won't quite say it that way, but he'll take it. Here's a video, and then we'll take it on the other side. I've been watching how people reacted to the census, how Texas gained a few seats, California, New York lost a seat each. And people are acting as if, okay, the way it's going, because these Republican states seem to have gotten more congressional seats, that somehow that was a real negative for Democrats. And I want you to listen to Matthew Dowd, because he has the same sentiment that I've had for quite some time, listening to the data. And let's take a listen to it, and we'll take it on the other side.
Matthew, we're going to give you 60 seconds of gloating time about Texas gaining 2 congressional seats. As I said earlier, New York, California, not so much. Talk about the political importance of your state and how great it is, especially when the power grid works?
Only when the power grid works. Haven't been out of water and power for 5 days in the midst of that. To me, Texas is the best view of where the country is headed. As soon as Texas shifts, which is going to happen in the next election or two, to a purple state, and then ultimately Texas will become a blue state because of the demographics and what's going on in the suburbs, it fundamentally changes the nature of the country's politics, because the Republicans have guaranteed themselves or counted on those electoral votes. But to me, the most interesting stuff out of the census, and many times in the media, as you know this full well, Brian, they have a tendency to concentrate on the noise and ignore the frequency of what's going on. 23 million Americans were added in population from 2010 to 2020. More than 90% of those 23 million Americans that were added are non-white. It's going to be either the smallest or the first time whites have dropped in population in our country. And so I take a different view of the census data. I don't think it's a net gain for the Republicans in this. They're going to lose a seat in West Virginia. They're going to lose a seat in New York. They're going to lose a seat in Illinois. That's net 3 down. That means they have to gain 4 more from the other states. And all of the population growth is among African Americans, Asian voters, Latino voters, and people of mixed race. All of the population growth is of non-white voters, and especially true in Texas.
And I want you to take a look. There's a graphic. Latinos exploding, Asian Americans exploding, black folk growing, and all the other races growing. And it's not that race definitely determines party affiliation, but when you have one particular party who is a party that's become nativist, a party that uses a whole lot of racial angst, then all or the majority of those from those other demographics, they won't by definition gravitate towards that party. Only the party that seems inclusive to them will garner their support. So in as much as we're looking at what gerrymandering can do, that these populations that have grown, somehow the Republican states are going to be able to gerrymander those growths into another few seats. At some point, the population growth overcomes gerrymandering, and I think we are pretty darn close to that right now. Look at the results when you ask about what's your party affiliation. Yeah, if you take a look at Republican versus Democrat, it's astounding. It is time for us to start acting like the winners that we ought to be, as opposed to the fearful folk that we have from a party that has lost its soul. You know, and that is what drives me crazy, right? We have the policies. We have the things that people want. We have the people. And we are constantly scared. And what scary mean is as follows. We don't bold. Let me give you the example. This program, Politics Done Right, I go. First of all, I meet with several of the legislature in Texas. In fact, I may have one of the commissioners on tomorrow. I think I'm having one of the commissioners on tomorrow. But check this out. As opposed to having faith in our policy because we know that is what most people want, we pussyfoot it. We make it soft. On this show, I tell the truth. The Republican Texas legislature is committing murder on its citizens. Punto y final. No hay nada más que decir. That is the way it is. Period. Americans need, or Texans and Americans in general, needs to know that. I want to play something for you guys with Nicole because I got a call from a congressman right now, so I'll play that first. You've got to love Nicole Wallace, but yes, she has come to a new realization. We got it all wrong. Well, those of us in independent media, we really didn't get it all wrong, right? But I mean, Look, she's absolutely right. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
This is the conversation that needs to be had. We covered this incorrectly. Fear of Trump was the excuse for all of Mitch McConnell and Rob Portman and Kevin McCarthy and all these weenies who look the other way when Casey Hunt and Leanne Caldwell and Garrett Hake were there with the cameras saying, do you believe with this outrageous thing that Donald Trump tweeted today? And our frame was they must be afraid of our cameras because they're scared of Trump. We were wrong. They are Trump. And you are right. This story is no longer about Trump. It's what Trump revealed the Republicans to be. And I dare say my old boss was putting it nicely, Charlie, when he said they stand for isolationism, protectionism, and nativism. And I'll add one more: flagrant racism. And how do you not lump extremism into it too? If you look at the intersection between the ideology that represents the gravest domestic violent extremism threat and the lies that Kevin McCarthy refused to knock down when Chris Wallace gave him multiple chances to do so yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been playing with matches for the last 4 years. They've been, dousing kerosene on American democracy. And now there's a conflagration, and they don't know what to do about it. Because, again, they've created something that they can't stop. And, whether or not Donald Trump continues to pull the strings or whether he comes back in 2024, this is now the new reality. And this is the real threat that, in fact, a lot of us thought or hoping that the Republican Party might get better after Trump left, rather than healing itself or having the fever break. What you're seeing in the Republican Party is a party that's getting crazier and that's getting worse even after Donald Trump has left office. And it's almost as if since he's been removed from the equation, there are no guardrails to the crazy that he set off.
No guardrails to the crazy that he set off. I think, like Nicole said, they are Trump. The crazy has always been there, and they just needed that leader that they could coalesce around. And in Trump, they got him. And a lot of the moderate folks started to think about, where does that leave us? Well, the truth of the matter is that they could decide to choose country over party. And choosing country over party meaning we are now in a politically existential and a negative existential state. And what one would want to do is say there's only one party right now that believes in true democracy. There's only one party right now, irrespective of how progressive you may think they are looking for what the people want and not trying to limit their vote and not trying to limit their freedoms, etc., etc., etc. Therefore, in order to form a better union, in order for us to be a better country, for now, at least for now, we must leave the Republican Party, and we must ensure that the other party is strong enough so that we can purge the Republican Party of all of the cancer and then rebuild a true conservative party as that backstop, that challenge, that force that makes sure every side is working as hard as they can to make things right for everybody. Okay, sorry for just throwing that video out there, but I was waiting on a call all day from this legislature that's on the floor. They're fighting through all the bills. Well, here's what happened in Texas. Just now I found out, I got all the intricacies. All the Medicaid expansion bills, the full Medicaid expansion bills in Texas got canned. Every single bill that did the full Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act got canned on the Texas legislature floor. So the criminals, the thugs, the murderers succeeded in doing that. We have that so far. There's one bill left. Texans, if you're out there and listening to me, and we're going to try to put this out in special news in a little bit. All the Texans out there, there's one bill right now that's talking about a partial use of the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, a waiver that instead of funding 5 million Texans that don't have health insurance, will handle 1.2 million Texans. So some is better than nothing, right? But what I'm saying today is we have a couple of weeks to amend that bill. Because as I was just getting a lesson from the legislator. He said, Egberto, we can't add any more bills. The time to submit bills are over. So I said, what else can we do? He said, the only thing that is left to do is to amend a pertinent bill. In other words, you can't amend the transportation bill to add Medicare for all or Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. But what you can do is, because we have a partial Medicaid to expansion act that we don't even know is going to pass, but it's the only vehicle left for us to somehow help the remainder of Texans, we can amend that bill to turn it into a full Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. That is the only thing that we're left with. We got 2 weeks, but we got to get it before they vote that bill up or down. And we have to amend it. We got to get it amended. So here is the deal. If you're a Texan right now, call every legislator you know, Republican or Democrat alike, and let the Republicans know that we will be tagging them with murders and every single person that dies in Texas because they didn't have health insurance. Every single person in Texas that got diagnosed late with a disease that is causing their death, we're going to pin it against a party that refused to use the monies that are available to them right now by the federal government that we've already paid. We're going to tag them with that. Call your legislator right now, and let them know they will be tagged with the death. We're going to enumerate the death of people without insurance because they decided not to provide them insurance, and we're going to tag them as murderers, and we're going to paste them as murderers because of what they did. Because it is murder. Knowing that your actions causes the death of somebody else is murder. So if you're a Texan, please do that. And for all the other legislators that are in power in session right now, whatever state you're in, whatever state you're walking or being from, do the same thing. These guys are criminals. We know that when they're doing the things that they want to do, laws don't matter. Eric earlier said, Egberto, aren't we a country of laws? We are only a country of laws when it satisfies a select few. Otherwise, we don't give a damn about the laws. If you voted for Republicans who are murdering your friends, your family, and others, you are not a murderer, but you are an accessory. You are an accessory unbeknownst to you. Now, here's the deal, Lee, and I'm going to speak to you mano a mano, hermano a hermano. Now that I've explained this to you, now that you know that your Republican vote means the death of your fellow citizens, if you continue to vote for them, you are an accessory to murder. Yes. I'm not calling you a murderer now. I am not calling you a murderer now. You are an involuntary person who didn't quite understand that. But now that you know that a Republican vote is tantamount to killing people you know, you will be, going forward, an accessory. That is a truth, that is a fact, and it's something that you must live with. I know some people's conscience will be clear because the abstraction of not being the person who is holding the dagger. It's like that person who inflicts, turn the pain. They did this experiment to see how much pain people were willing to inflict on another human being. And I don't remember exactly how the results were, but it was amazing what some humans could do. I couldn't. In my early days of voting in this country, I'm a naturalized citizen. I never voted straight tickets until I started realizing the death toll affected by voting for the Republicans that I did. I have a good friend right here in Texas that is now in the legislature. I have several friends in the legislature. And he came and he said, Egberto, I know you're a Democrat, but can you support me as a Republican? I said, how are you going to vote? Are you signing the Tea Party contract? Egberto, to win in this state, you have to do that as a Republican. I said, then, my friend, I cannot vote for you. I cannot vote for you. Still love you, but if you continue to follow their policies as well, it means that you are an accessory to murder as well. And I told him straight up. I told him straight up. We have to get real. It's time now. You have a lot of your own family that is dying right now because of your vote. Those of you that are voting Republican, you have families. Heard what I said. I just got the call from the legislature. Every single one of the bills that would have given those 5 million Texans insurance went down. Does that mean anything to you? Doesn't mean that, don't you understand that not having that means a lot of your Texans they've already had a death sentence now? Do you get it? There is a death sentence now. I'm sorry for that, but there is a death sentence now for Texans. I thought that the legislature would have gotten some of these bills. I thought Republicans would have found a way to cover themselves that says, we don't like Medicare for all, but because of extenuating circumstances, I thought they would have at least used the pandemic as an excuse to why they have to go back on their silly words about government health care. The pandemic gave them a reason. They gave them an out to have a heart. The pandemic gave them an excuse that they could still save face and vote for Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care. The pandemic gave them that out. And they still didn't. That's evil. That is the utter case of evil. That is evil codified. Evil codified. Folks, we got to get out of here. Thank you so kindly. Thank you so kindly for having been with me. Please remember to support the show. Please click, if you're on YouTube right now, please click that join button. We need your support to get the truth out. I'm going to be doing probably an independent video to try to get some sort of traction on it, to try to get these people to support the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act, or to create an amendment to do that. We're going to try. We're going to try. We are going to try. Please support us on Patreon, politicsandright.com/Patreon, politicsandright.com/Patreon. You can also support us at politicsandright.com/PayPal, politicsandright.com/PayPal. And please shop at our store, politicsandright.com/store. Get our memorabilia. Help us continue to do the work that we do. I got that call, and that really hurts, because it really hurts. It really hurts. Anyhow, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.